Men jag vill påpeka att detta kommer att ske på engelska, men hela föredraget och längre än 20 minuter antagligen kommer att finnas eller finns redan utlagt på nätet på Folket i Bilds hemsida i en svensk översättning av Stefan Lindgren. Please.
Greetings from India, the land of unity in diversity. It is our country, epitome of coexistence in multiple ethnic groups. We are honored to be here at the seminar commemorating 75 years of Myrdal's writing. Jan Myrdal is a Swedish author, is one of the authorities of Indian socio-political and cultural writings. If one ventures into socio-political writings even after a century, I feel Jan Myrdal will still be relevant in those days. But he has not written piles of books. He has written 2 books, and that also after the lapse of 26 years. But it is his love for the toiling masses that made him one of the respectable friends of Indian people. Let us go down to the memory lanes in the decades of 1980s. A boy in the early 20s was standing in front of a bookshop. He was seen there for the last few days. He was browsing over the pages of a book, and he was not, at that time, not able to buy that book. He was attracted towards the book because the book has an interesting socio-political and cultural in-depth about India. Once the boy was able to buy the book, and he felt himself as a winner because the book was very important to him. Later, the youth in that early 20s, he bought the number of copies of that book and he gifted those books to other comrades who dared to dream to change the system or to swim against the tide. Later, the youth grew up, in course of time became a publisher. And the year 2012, that very youth, on the behalf of Setu Prakashani, published the book, India Waits. It was a poetic justice for us. It was a poetic justice for the Setu Prakashani, is a publisher. Setu means, actually it's a Sanskritized word. Setu means bridge. There's a bridge that gaps Jan Myrdal and ourselves. We are very, very happy at that time. One should have an idea that is about Jan Myrdal's and his writings. Actually, Jan Myrdal, from his very first book, he seems not to be a neutral. He has taken the side. He had taken the side of the teeming multitudes. He is one of the living legends who has seen the Cold War as well as the socialist China. He has declared his adherence to Marxism repeatedly throughout his writing career. Hence, it is no wonder that he is committed to his work from very beginning. India Waits is a product of his untiring work. I am in the publication for the last 16 years. Still, I have not seen a single instance where an author has taken so much pain, crisscrossed a country several times to write a book. And let us say, during the 1980s, what Khuswant Singh, he stated about this book. He reviewed at the book India Waits in this way. India Waits is the most disturbing book, written by the son of Nobel laureate Gun Myrdal and his wife Alva, who was Swedish ambassador in Delhi, and illustrated by his wife Gun. A blasting indictment of our administration, our leaders, our police, our jails, corruption, poverty, and our helplessness to do anything about them. They see darkness in every home, tears in every eye. They ask, to whom does power belong? To whom happiness? For whom is the land milk? So that some starve while others reap bounty. Jan was definitely years ahead of his times as he took up the issues like weather, environment. Jan was definitely years ahead of his time as he taken up the issues like women, environment, caste question. Frankly speaking, at those times in 1980s, even the communist parties, irrespective of the names, they was not that serious to take up those issues. Later in prior to 2012, he visited Dandakaran and tried to access the nature of struggle in that area, in the Dandakaran. That was the area dominated by CPI Maoist. His doctoral age did not prevent him from visiting the remotest corner of India, another India, where people are fighting for an exploitation-free India. He later penned down his experiences in that book, Red Star over India. Today, this day is the 128th birth anniversary of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who proclaimed our Indian Constitution. And now, when we are here, yesterday, his statue was vandalized. We are at a stake. That is, in what position we are going to. In this context, we had to read and reread again and again Myrdal's Red Star over India. Myrdal formally released the book Red Star of India. The book is to be read as a counter-narrative to these Ambedkar's assertion about our Indian democracy. What went wrong about that the wretched of the earth are compelled to think in a different way? The crowd was seen there when we inaugurated the book in Kolkata Book Fair. But the book release was historical on our part. Myrdal was our first foreign author. In addition to it, he was a European who was famous for his writings. He was to be taken, quote-unquote, care by the government. People from Home Department followed Myrdal from the book fair till his departure from India. There were 3 mass meetings held subsequently in Hyderabad, Ludhiana, New Delhi, Constitution Club. People came in large numbers in Hyderabad and Ludhiana. Books in hundreds are sold. But the point is that those were the days when our house moved 1,000 kilometers to formally inaugurate the book, and everywhere intellectuals met Myrdal and exchanged their views. Police in civil and also in uniform used to throng every meetings. This was not usual. I could still remember there was a phone call to me from Kolkata Book Fair site. Our staff informed me that a person from Home Department wanted to know about the program, and they also inquired about my contact number. I asked the staff to provide them with my number. The person later rang me and saw details about the book release program. But when Myrdal left India, then the minister in charge of Home Affairs stated that Myrdal would not be allowed to enter India as he had advised Indian communists. This point was refuted by Myrdal. He told that he was not such a fool to advise Indian friends. It was not his duty also. This self-assertion of Myrdal was very natural, but I am surprised how a person of Myrdal's stature, who accompanied Jawaharlal Nehru on 4th January 1959 at Bhubaneswar on the occasion of All India Writers' Conference, could be treated in such a way. Whatsoever, his books are well received by the readers. First edition was exhausted within 3 months. It got translated in Telugu, Punjabi, Hindi. Our house published the Hindi and Bengali edition also. Bengali edition was sold in Bangladesh also. The books are still read by the readers who want to have an insight in the politics of the struggling area. Naxalite politics is such a milestone in Indian subcontinent that it is included in some of the university syllabuses also. Consequently, educational institutions are also buying this book. In that respect, the book Red Star of India is a major contribution by Myrdal. His lucid style of writing and presentation of context that makes a difference. You can read the book, entire book in one go. He actually has an ability to urge to learn from the others. In this context, let me state one particular incident. In 2012 Kolkata Book Fair, I was accompanying Myrdal to different bookshops. The book fair was full of popular books. The book fair Kolkata is very popular. It was meant for general readers. There, while I and Jan Myrdal was visiting different bookstalls, he asked me about Chetan Bhagat's book. It was bestseller at that time, but meant only for leisure reading. The young generation were fond of the author. Myrdal picked up one book by Bhagat, browsed over the pages for some time, and then told me that we should understand and appreciate the language and popular style of writing by this generation of authors. People are really home with these authors. We should learn from them. I was really dumbfounded. His admiration for Chetan's writing made me realize that we should be always ready to learn and humble to our readers. This attitude remains the key to his success as an author. Economical and Political Weekly, issued June 16, 2012, critically reviewed Myrdal's book Red Star over India. It stated that the rich experiences in observing and participating in almost 8 decades of communist history gives proper context to the Maoist movement in India. Throughout the book, he rightly asserts that being over 80 years old, he is intellectually and politically marked by both historical successes and the severe defeats of the decades. His book was also reviewed in international arena. On the occasion of 50 years of Naxalite movement, Alpha Shah of London School of Economics and Political Science Department, along with Dhruv Jain, edited journal that reviewed 50 recent books on the movement. The journal was published by Cambridge University Press. There they reviewed 8 of our books. Red Star over India was also reviewed there. The review was critical. It stated that it was erroneous to present the undercurrent experiences as a sign of a new era. In particular, the objection was about the similarity of the name of the book with that of Edgar Snowden's Red Star over China. Whatsoever, Red Star over India gave us an identity that we are serious in our job. In a nutshell, we are able to create our niche readers who want to have books, issues pertaining to social causes in general and justice in particular. But our integrity to the publication business is questioned several times, sometimes by authors, sometimes academicians, even sometimes booksellers. You know, there is a College Street is famous for the bookshops. Foreigners who eventually visit College Street used to visit Calcutta, used to visit College Street once. So there we have a small bookshop. But when we started the bookshop just 7 or 8 years back, then some people wanted to express that these books would not be sold here. But we were selling these books, and that our small bookshop is totally different from other bookshops. When some of the academicians, they also told me, why you were publishing this type of books. But I reaffirmed that in days to come, we are running through an age of contradictions. Contradictions will also be ripened in the days to come. And we have created our own branding and as such, in future, we'll be able to those books in numbers. India, the largest democracy in the world, is going to polls. And people will decide who are to operate from the parliament. But if one traces the growth trajectory of our Indian socio-economic reality, one should be confronted with the despotic, near demonic and inhuman conditions. I personally feel what we are observing today in our country is only the tip of the iceberg. Worse days are yet to come. But who can bear off the responsibility? One that opened the floodgates of India to foreign investors in 1990, or one which passed resolution in the parliament to cap investment in welfare measures despite no adverse imbalance of foreign investment or any other compulsion? We are going down as per hunger index and quality of life. Peasant suicides are on the rise. Unemployment is 45 years high. But still then, the only silver lining is that the peasants are traveling hundreds of kilometers, sometimes thousands of kilometers, to raise their demands. Students, youths, they are raising their demands. Last year, in Punjab University, students, they revolted and they halted the fee hike. And for the first time in history in Punjab University, they elected a woman as the president for their first union president as a woman. It's a success, of course. And besides this, the ongoing struggle is going on. Still then, the position is the official left is on the back foot. What they are doing? Left government is carrying on Operation Anaconda to flush out Maoists from Kerala Wena Junction. And they are playing in the hands with the ruling class and the governments there. And in Ambujpur, Dandakara, and in the vast areas, Maoists, they are operating. They are operating since 1990s. Here they claim to have set up Jantana Sarkar, Alternative People's Government. This is the place which was supposed to be visited by Myrdal in 2010. State claimed that this is the area where the senior Maoist leaders are holed up. What we are witnessing is encirclement and occasional bloodbaths. Last year, death of divisional committee members near Indravati River was horrible one. People rights group were shaken by the brutality and cruelty of the incident. Now the BJP government was out of power from that particular state government. Still then, the position remains same as before. Key issues might be yet to be addressed by the stakeholders. In this context, another aspect is also becoming very much prominent in our country. That is turning ripe for the revolts of the lower caste and the downtrodden people. Adivasi people of lower caste origin are coming down to streets to address their pent-up anger against the deprivation. One such incident was Bhima Koregaon that has become famous all over India. On January 1, 2018, about 3 lakh people, mostly Dalits, gathered to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the victory of the Bhima Koregaon. It is a victory of the Dalits celebrate with pride to overthrow oppressive Peshwa regime by joining hands with the British. The far-right forces tried to disrupt the meeting. One person was killed, and it was followed by outrage on the parts of the Dalits. After that, there was a rampage on the part of the Dalit, but as a follow-up, what the government did, the government arrested leaders. First, they arrested one leader from the right-wing group, and then he was released in bail. But the government, on the contrary, went on a rampant arrest of activists, poets like Vadabara Rao, and lawyer Arun Ferreira. There were several arrests are going on. And this matter is there now the matter is going in the Supreme Court there in our country. Their main intention, what the police claimed, the police is claiming that the main intention of the program Bhima Koregaon was to overthrow the government. The matter is there in the court to decide. And Myrdal, decades ahead, put forward the deprivation of Adivasis and lower caste people in India as very serious. Now it seems that both the government and the political parties are taking up the issue very seriously. In this context, all of you most probably know about Arundhati Roy. I am quoting from one of his articles after this incident from the Wire. It is a e-magazine dated August 30, 2018. She just stated, a front page in Indian Express says, police to court. Police is telling to the court, those held part of anti-fascist plot to overthrow government, unquote. We should know by now that we are up against a regime that its own people call fascist. In India of today, to belong to a minority is a crime, to be murdered is a crime, to be poor is a crime, to defend the poor is to overthrow the government. It is in this context we have to analyze the publications scenario in India. That is, the first regulatory rule was passed in 1867 to regulate the publication there. You may remember that is after the Shippa Mutiny. Later, the Delivery of Books Act came in the year 1954. But now they have drafted a bill named Electronic, that is Newspaper and Electronic Publication in Libraries Act 2017. There, the proposed act has a very stringent provision. The act is in proposed matter, which is still not in discussion in public domain. Publishers may be imprisoned, fined for non-compliance with proposed provisions of the draft bill. That is, they may be imprisoned for 2 years only for their fault will be that they have not deposited the book in the library. ISBN, a book promotion module, can be used for surveillance. The circle is becoming narrow. This noose is tightening around the publishers. It is under this scenario we can venture to clarify the situation to be confronted by the liberal and progressive publishers in general, leave alone the left. Here, even reputed publishers are sometimes compelled to withdraw their book from the market. A culture of banning is there irrespective of government, left or right. The left-front government in late 1980s banned a book written by Taslima Nasrin, a poet from Bangladesh, namely Lajja or Shame in English. It was a severe critique of Muslim fundamentalism. The then government took up the step to appease Muslim fundamentalism. I, along with all the democratic persons, believe that it is against democratic rights. Books should not be banned irrespective of their political or philosophical beliefs. While in India, the threat looms large from Hindu fundamentalist elements unlike in Bangladesh, where the threat is from Muslim fundamentalist forces. No one knows when there will be an incident like Gauri Lankesh. She was a senior editor of Karnataka, a southern state. She was progressive and stood for justice. Though she was threatened many a time by right-wing groups, she continued her magazine. She was to pay for her bravery by her death. Case is going on. Progressive intellectuals like Govind Pansare, Kalburgi were killed, but above all, there are efforts on the behalf of publisher to publish according to the strategy. It is in this context that we have to trace how the left publishers are performing in India. They are few in number. Still, they have their existence there in India. They cherish to march into a country as written by Rabindranath Tagore. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arm towards perfection, where clear stream of reason has not lost its way. Let us cite some examples. A National Book Agency is operating for the last 70 years in Kolkata under adverse situation. It was founded by Comrade Muzaffar Ahmad and run by the then Communist Party of India. It has published books on basic Marxism and social issues. It is operated by the Communist Party of India, Marxists, the official left. It sells large number of books of other publishers also. Frankly speaking, I should admit, it has become one of the centers of hope of selling left and progressive books. CPI, that is Communist Party of India, has its publication house under the name of PPH, that is People's Publishing House. It has its branches in all the major cities. It is to be noted, though NB, that is National Book Agency in Kolkata, has a screening process to examine which books are to be sold or which to be not. But CPI-controlled PPH, they seem to be a bit liberal in this aspect. Apart from CPI and CPIM, other left political parties have their publication units, but they have little impact in overall publication scenario. And CPI Maoists do not have any declared publication units. Previously, there are efforts of some CPIML people who are to publish their literature, but now there is no such efforts are being seen there. There are, of course, some publication houses do not have declared agendas of left politics or ideology, but these are the houses which have developed their branding over the years and can be termed as left publishers. The previous examples that I have given that are the declared official agendas of the various left groups. But apart from these, there are some left publishers who are not directly attached to any communist parties of India, but they are publishing left journals and left books like Akar Books, Leftward Publication, Thulika, Three Issues Collective, and of course Setu Prakashani. Established big houses like Penguin India, Aleph Book Company, Rupa, Oxford University Press, or Orient Black Swan sometimes publish books and akin to left and progressive ideology, but these are mostly academic books. Left publishers on one are facing very tough time. Their books are generally not selected for government purchases. This is a statutory body at All India level, namely Raja Rammohn Roy National Foundation, which was established to buy books in English. But now it is not generally buying English version books. On the contrary, they are buying different books, that is of Sanskrit or Hindi or other books. And the various publications, apart from these publications, they are also coming up at regional and also at All India level. They are publishing on social issues. Now, when publication as a business venture is supposed to meet its end, this emergence of new publishers are, of course, a new sign of hope. They are solely to depend upon the mass. The situation compelled the left and progressive publishers to venture into various means to reach the readers. We now try to attend mass meetings of all hues as far as possible. We are able to sell a number of books through these meetings. These are becoming meeting points for the readers, authors, and publishers like us. Gadri Fair is one such fair. It takes place every year at Jalandhar, Punjab from 31st October to 2nd November. It is to pay homage to great Gadar movement launched by Indians living abroad against the British regime during colonial period. It is a festival of masses. It nourishes people's cultural hegemony that the state tries to impose hegemony on the people. Gramsci rightly said, ruling class does not depend only on its military might, but on the voluntary surrender of the working class. The emergence of these types of fairs may become counter-narrative to the dominant class hegemony. Social media like the Facebooks or WhatsApp groups, especially meant for book publication, are becoming very important tools to market the books. These are very cost-effective also. Still, there are problems. There also we have to consider stringent cyber laws before promoting any issues related to books. Our area of concern, publishers in some areas attend book fairs in grassroots level. There are district book fairs in addition to town-level book fairs. Every festival, in particular in Bengal, generally have one or more book stalls. Science fairs, exhibition, academic conventions also have some book stalls. These practices are becoming a lifeline to publishers who are grasping for press. It is apathy. It is aptly said, when all the avenues are seen to extent, other options are seen in the offing. Recently, at Agartala Book Fair in Tripura, Bengali translation of our book Gujarat Files and Anatomy of Cover-Up by Rana Ayub, along with the left organ of Student Federation of India Students Wing, CPIM, were branded as anti-national. Some hooligans attacked the bookstall holders. There was no legal protection from the organizers' behalf, but the bookseller challenged the miscreants in court and was able to resume their business. But the consequence was sale of our book, Bengali version of, that is Gujarat Files, shot up through other channels. Let we the publishers be patient and laborious, like that of old foolish man as stated by Mao, who dared to push away the mountain. While we are commemorating 75 years of Myrdal's writing, we should remember it is difficult to do a good job once, but it is very difficult to adhere to a good job throughout one's life. We as Indians and as Bengali feel this shame urge of commitment towards the teeming multitudes from Tagore, the first non-European Nobel Prize winner. He has stated, leave this chanting and singing and telling of beads. Whom dost thou worship in the lonely dark corner of a temple with doors all shut? Open thine eyes and see thy God is not before thee. He is there where the tiller is tilling the hard ground, where the pathmaker is breaking stones. He is with them in sun and in shower, and his garment is covered with dust. Put off thy holy mantle, and even like him come down on the dusty soil. Deliverance. Where is the deliverance to be found? Our Master himself has joyfully taken upon him the bonds of creation. He is bound with all us forever. Come out thy mediations and leave aside thy flowers and incense. What harm is there if thy clothes become tattered and strained? Meet him and stand by him in toil and sweat of thy sorrow. Tagore and Myrdal, though differs in their philosophical outlook, both will be remembered by Indians, commoners in ovation and respect.